Awesome. Thanks, Frank. Good to see everyone. Appreciate you being here today. Tough act to follow. Heather and John, we went 5-0 this weekend. It's pretty amazing. Congrats to Heather on her 100th and 101st win. But an amazing road trip to the Pacific Northwest. Just an unbelievable performance. So happy, so proud of the effort there. And then obviously we've got a big one coming up on Sunday. I heard her just talking about the pride of playing our in-state rivals and what it means for that game and for us as an institution. And so I know we'll be there cheering loud and proud. But just a reminder, matches at 1:30 on Sunday, free admission for our soccer program, and love to see the stands packed out there after we have a great football game on Saturday. And then John, I know John was up here, 3-0 weekend for our women's volleyball program, champions of the Lobo Invitational, which was incredible. So awesome weekend to be a Lobo. And I know we'll talk about football here in a moment, but just wanted to congratulate them and thank them for elevating our brand and our programs this weekend. I'm so appreciative of them. So I just quickly, before I touch on some of the things I think you saw last night with our Louis Lane announcement and then some of the other things we'll be announcing later today. I've mentioned before, I said it from my opening press conference, I remember just about for us to sustain and grow as an athletic department, we absolutely need a consistently competitive football program. It's crucial for us. And, there's been periods of success here, great coaches, great players that have come through. And now more than ever in this day and age with all the realignment and everything else that's going on, we need to have a consistently competitive program. And yes, wins and losses matter, but as an administration, we've taken a really proactive and unique approach to try to think differently. I've said it before, but we cannot continue to do the same things and expect there to be different results. And so we have to hold our end of the bargain. And you've seen some of the initiatives we've announced and some of the things that we've done so far. And I think that's been really well received by the community. But I think we all saw this weekend. Obviously, the goal is to win every game. Certainly, we didn't win against Michigan, but I think everyone acknowledged and understood and saw the effort, the toughness, the fight, the discipline that our team played with, and that starts at the top. Obviously, Coach Eck, he believes in that. He talks about championship behavior all the time, and we've taken on that motto as an athletic department, as administration. We have to act the same way that they act, right? If they're going to show up and fight and scratch and claw to do everything to make Lobo Nation proud, we have to do it as well. And so some of these initiatives have been to do that. And I'm going to issue a bit of a challenge here to Lobo Nation. Our team fought, as I mentioned, and they laid it all out on the line. And they deserve support. They deserve people here in the stadium this weekend. And I know that one thing that New Mexicans do well and Lobos do well is they respond to a challenge. And so I think our team would love it, appreciate it. It would help them win. There's a tangible impact on winning and losing if there's butts in the seats at University Stadium. So I know our fans are excited. They're eager. I've heard from a lot of them, and we're just so excited to see them show up this weekend at University Stadium. So can't wait for that. Just a couple of things before I dive into what we announced last night. Just to reiterate, we've already announced our Kids Free initiative. Where I think Coach Eck's up for an Emmy Award. I've got to check with Casey, but his acting skills were unmatched in there. I brought the whole production down. My acting skills were pretty terrible, but shout out to Coach Eck for that. And we've received great feedback from our fans, from our community. We want to make Lobo football more accessible to our fans. And then also to build on that, everything's a family-friendly type of mentality. We've already announced our value menu for four for $4, right? We've got $4 water, $4 popcorn, $4 hot dogs, and $4 soda. So again, you start to look at all of these things that we're trying to do differently. It's again to try to create some different excitement and different energy around Lobo football. And so last night we announced what we called Louis Lane. And this is something we've been working on for months, something admittedly that I was able to see when I was at the University of Texas, the impact that Bevo Boulevard had on the overall fan experience. And so as I got here and started to build my team, I asked that we look for ways to emulate what has been done, not just there, but other places, and engage our community. And I've said this before, but to me, I look at it three ways. One, our fans have to wake up on a Friday or Saturday and have to think, let's go to a football game. Let's go to a Lobo football game. Then two, we've got to get them to come to the stadium. It no longer are the days where we just expect them or assume that they'll show up and come. So we've got to create excitement outside of our stadium to make that happen. And then 3, once they're here, we got to get them in. Right. So this is to address number 2 of what I just mentioned. And by creating a party atmosphere and environment outside of our stadium, that's really going to try to help us differentiate ourselves, do something different, so our fans know that we're trying. We're trying everything that we can do in our power to help them. So it's a free entry. It's open to any and all ages, and it'll be actually just right outside the north end zone here by Gate 8, right off ACC. And so it'll open 3 hours before kick. So the party starts at 10 o'clock this week. And just a couple of things, and you saw it in the press release, but just to hit on some of the specifics. So as to what we'll have there. So we'll have a family area. Obviously, kids, we've focused a lot on family and kids. And so we'll have an area that's turfed there with games and other activities for our families to come in there and enjoy themselves and let their kids run around. We'll also start this year our first ever, I believe, Lobo Kids Run. So what that'll be is you'll sign up at Louis Lane, and kids that are, I believe, 7 years and older will be able to run out of the tunnel right before our team takes the field for opening kickoff. And so, again, something new, something different to engage our fans. We'll obviously have a DJ. I'm a big believer in we can't have silence. Right? People, they want to hear music, they want to hear things going. And so when you hear that, it just creates this excitement, this environment. And so we'll be really focused on making sure that we have touch points and sound points throughout our experience so that you can feel the energy and it's tangible. Obviously, we'll have a beer garden. We'll have an area that's designated for that, and we'll have some specialty pricing. Again, we're looking at ways that we can encourage fans to show up early, be proud, be loud, and in order to do that, we've got to give them an incentive to do that. And so obviously, we'll have some exciting specialty pricing out there that our fans will be able to take advantage of out there, and I appreciate Levy's hard work on that. A taste of New Mexico, something that adds our flavor, our local flavor to food trucks and other things of that nature. And so we'll be able to leverage that. And I know that's a big hit in our community. We'll also have gear out there. Our Lobo Den store will have a pop-up out there so you can, gear up in cherry and silver before the game. And one of the things, I learned and just talking to our fans is there's an excitement to come to the game, but they don't want to miss the games that are on TV. And I understand that. And so we'll have a big LED board out there that will have YouTube TV on there, and we'll have a bunch of different games going on at the same time so that, again, just eliminating barriers to entry, right? Hey, I want to watch the games, no problem. Come watch them here with us, grab a beer, have your kids run around, and have a heck of a time. And then lastly, I think I believe at one point, Frank, you have to check me here, the Lobo Walk was a thing, and we're bringing that back this year. Again, you talk about tangible way that our fans can help winning and losing. That's one of them. 2.5 hours before kickoff, when our team pulls up right down ACC and they get off and they see cherry and silver everywhere and the band's playing and cheerleaders are going and they see that area lined up right there, they're walking in, that matters. It matters. It gets them fired up. It gets them motivated, and they know that they're playing for something bigger than themselves. And so excited to bring that back this year, and that'll be 2.5 hours before kick. And then lastly, I won't go into too much detail, but I do want to mention that later today or early tomorrow, we'll actually be coming out with another release that'll talk about just some more things that are going to be new in and around Lobo football, both operationally and offerings-wise. So I just want to hit on some of the high level ones because I think they're important. I've heard from a number of fans that we've had issues with parking in Stadium East lot over the years with just the ability to come in and park and tailgate and do some things, and it gets backed up. And so we've actually implemented, connected with the Balloon Fiesta, and we've implemented some of the things that they're able to successfully do over there. So we'll have a new ingress method there, which will be spelled out in our press release that'll hopefully alleviate some of the pain points and the stresses of the backups that we've seen there. We'll have additional points of entry into the stadium this year. We also have new and improved metal detectors, and I think that's really important. For those of you that came to games in the pit this year, this was new for me. I saw it, and those metal detectors, we made a significant capital investment into those, and that really helps the entry process and help alleviate lines. But the less you bring in, the quicker it'll go. Obviously, we're a clear bag facility, but I think we're in a really good spot there to help kind of alleviate some of the lines and making things easier that way. Two things, obviously, obviously earlier in the season when it's a little bit warmer. Although I will say this morning I saw the high temperature for Saturday is forecast to be 79, which is very nice fall football weather. However, we know that it can get warm. We understand that. And so we're going to do two things this year, both in the north end zone. We've purchased what are called water monsters, and they're these big water containers that fill up and we keep filled up. And so if you buy a water or you bring in one of your sealed containers, you can go fill it up free of charge. So that's something that we will offer free water for our fans. And then we also will have cooling stations over there with some shade and some misters and some fans for folks that are need to go sit and get out of the heat. I understand shade's an issue. We're working on that. But in the meantime, we're going to provide opportunities for that to happen. The other thing too, and I think sometimes these things go unnoticed, is our partners with Levy, which we're here today testing some of their food and some of their new offerings. They added almost 100 new points of sale this year in the stadium. And that's important. I'll be the first to admit we have our deficiencies in our stadium when it comes to our amenities that we can offer, both concessions and restrooms and other things. But what are we doing to mitigate those in the meantime? And so adding nearly 100 new points of sale will allow fans to go in the line, get quicker access to whatever they want to buy. And so I'm really, really excited about that. Again, we made an investment into ensuring that we're able to do that. Nusenda, our great partners, are providing some portable charging stations for phones. And then one of the things, I've mentioned before, I think, Sean, we had a conversation about this, is I've been really strategic with my team and asking them, when we talk about in-game scripting, right, the in-game elements of a football game, we have to be dynamic. We have to be nimble. And so when we script our game, it can no longer just be PA read after PA read. It can't be, ladies and gentlemen, turn your attention to the north end zone every single time. That just kills the momentum of the game. And so we'll have a live DJ that'll be up in the booth with our in-game experienced folks. And we've been really creative and dynamic in our scripting. We need to mirror the ebbs and flows of a football game. If there's a big stop on third down, we got to crank that sucker up. Right? If there's something big going on, we got to get it on the new video board. And so we've been really creative, and I think our fans will notice that we'll have some more dynamic abilities with us to be able to react to the ups and downs of the games. And so for that, speaking to the fan piece, one of the things that I think is really important to us, and certainly to me as an individual, is that we get feedback from our fans. And so if our fans are coming on a Friday or Saturday and spending their hard-earned discretionary income to come support the Lobos, then we need to in turn ask them, what can we do better? And so we're going to send out post-game fan surveys to our fans. Those will go out immediately after the game. And I please encourage our fans, be honest with us. We don't know what we don't know, and if there's something we need to be better at, we will work our tails off to fix it. So again, just engaging, getting with our fans, making sure that they know that we care and we're listening to them. And so, and the last thing, I won't steal their thunder, but obviously we've got some really cool meals here provided by Levy this year. I'll just read them off. The Big Chuck sounds pretty good. Beef sandwich topped with cheese and garlic, and we've got three new variations of the Lobo dog: the Louie, the Lucy, and the Chomper. Not sure what they are, but they look good. I walked in and I saw them, so let's try them out, and I'm excited to see them this year. So again, appreciate you being here. Happy to take any questions. Excited for this weekend. Super appreciative of all that you do to cover us and get our message out there. And I'm excited to see our team perform this weekend and hopefully get in the win column.
Did you say 100 new points of sale?
Yeah.
In that stadium right there, there's 100 new ones?
Yep.
How do you have 100 new points of sale?
So we actually have, there's a lot of portable elements that we're working on. So you'll see a lot of different portable beer carts or whatever else that we can actually have handheld points of sale. So whether it's folks that are, walking around selling just different pieces. Also within our concession stands that we've been able to duplicate some of our points of sale areas with new technology and other things. And so we've been able to, and that also includes some of the stuff that we're doing outside, obviously with Louis Lane, which is a new ad there. So we've made improvements. Obviously our infrastructure needs to be better, but we're trying to mitigate that in any way that we can.
You said this was at least somewhat replicated. I get the scales, not the same, but Louis Lane, Bevo Boulevard, did you have to get an alliteration going or to do it?
I stayed out of that. My ideas were going to be terrible. And so I told my team, I said, hey, you guys need to come up with something cool. And believe me, there was some pretty extensive conversations about the name, but ultimately we settled on Louis Lane, and the alliteration is just a value add there. It worked out perfectly. So,
all right. look, Saturday's game at Michigan was big in a lot of ways. I know people that were sitting with the New Mexico fans, and you obviously met with a bunch of them. Compared to what Saturday brought for this program, and if you want to give numbers, that's great, but was it successful business-wise? Did you guys get some donors, like jump on board that maybe weren't on board? And then comparing the first home game of the year, this Saturday, compared to like how big Michigan game was for you guys, I mean, they're pretty similar in a lot of ways, even though the programs that you guys are playing are very different, are they not?
Yeah, no question. I mean, I think, as I mentioned, and Coach Eck would be the first to say, you know, his expectation is we win every one that we play. And I know, obviously, you know, he was disappointed that we didn't win the game, but we fought our tails off, right? And the culture he's trying to build is one that doesn't accept average. And that's why I love working with him. And I think you asked about the excitement and, you know, in terms of donors and other people there. We had a packed plane, and that's a good thing. People are excited and they're interested in Lobo football. And frankly, that's a testament to what Coach Eck's building and what he's been able to do for this community and for those that maybe have been on the fence before about football, right? People can see that he's invested in them in this community. And so in turn, we're seeing that, materialize in what we're doing. And so the interest is there. It's high. And you talked about the game this weekend. It's a big one. It's a big game. It's a big one because it's the next one, but it's also because I think it'll allow us to set the foundation for what we know we can build here. And that's a successful program. And obviously having a win this weekend in front of hopefully a good crowd will just start to continue to snowball into something bigger. That's what we all want to see.
You touched on it with the balloon fiesta with ingress to the stadium, but anyone who comes here for a game that's around 20,000 would probably talk about the traffic and getting into the building. Just curious, not to jump the gun on later today, but what exactly are you going to do to alleviate that? Yeah,
so great question. So one of the things we did this year for basketball is we've eliminated the left-hand turn, and I know that may seem a little bit odd, but when you look at maps, it really does make a difference because when you start doing that, you can get jammed up pretty quick. And the reality is your plans are only as good as the people you have to execute them. And so there are times where we're short, whether it be in event staff or police officers, whatever it might be, because of no-show rates. And so we have to have our processes in place so that we can mitigate if something like that were to happen. And so we're going to continue what we did with right-hand only turns for basketball that I think worked very well. Specifically for Stadium East, as I studied it more, obviously that's a big tailgating lot for us. And look, we hope that we see 25, 30 for every game, but I think we need to start to condition our fans, and that's why we're starting this now, that when you come into Stadium East, you've been to big events before where they actually have individuals that'll come park you so that you're not, spreading out all over the place. And that way we can have an accurate count as to whether or not the lot's full, because there may be a time that the lot sells out. That's a good problem to have. But we've got to make sure that if that happens, we're communicating proactively to our fans that, hey, Stadium East is sold out. Here's your other options, so that they're not getting here waiting in line for something that doesn't have space. And so is it going to be perfect game one? It won't be. But we want to start working towards something that our fans know we're planning and expecting we're going to have 25, 30 for every game. And that's our goal. That's our mindset. And that's what I've articulated to my staff. So we're hopeful that this will alleviate some of the pain points we've seen, but we'll continue to listen and learn as needed.
And I know the contract with Michigan was $1.8 million for that game. It says that they have to pay that by, I think, following March. Have they already paid the rest of that?
You know what? Anything related to finances, I make sure I double check with Ryan Berriman on that, because he makes sure it's all buttoned up. But I saw a word after the game and we shook hands, and I think we'll be okay there. So yeah.
So you touched on a lot of this in your opening statement, but I mean, this will be your first home game as the athletic director. So I mean, you haven't really experienced the true Lobo football atmosphere, yet you're making all of these initiatives. Can you just talk about the process of why it was important to you to kind of add this stuff when you hadn't already experienced what it was like here? Yeah,
you're spot on. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been in a meeting and I've said, gosh, I haven't even seen a football game. Actually, I take that back. I did see the New Mexico Bowl. I see Jeff sitting back there, but a Lobo football game. And, for me, as I mentioned, a couple of reasons. One, we have to show our fans that we're trying something different, because I understand there's been a lot of turnover and transition. We've got, I think Frank said he's updated 130 folks on the roster over the last 2 years. Obviously, we've had 3 football coaches in 3 years. And so we need to show our fans that we care because now more than ever, I think our fans understand and we realize that a successful football program is critical to the overall health of our department long term. And so as I came in, I obviously I had to hire a football coach and navigate some other things, but it was always important for me, and I made it a priority for our staff that we rolled out a bunch of initiatives that caught people's attention, and hopefully we can see a tangible return on those initiatives this weekend.
You just mentioned, and 3 coaches in 3 years probably isn't the ideal environment for this setting and all that too. Yeah. But have you had a lot of success in terms of getting people to renew season tickets and more people to sign up? And do you have any specific figures off the top of your head?
For sure, yeah. So I think we've sold comparatively to last year, new season tickets. We're at like 178% of where we were last year. Now our overall numbers need to be bigger, right? But when we're looking, are people listening? Are they buying in? The answer is yes, and I'm excited about that. And let me be very clear, Coach X a big reason for that. He's been so involved. Every time we've asked him to do something, he answers always yes. And so I do think that we'll see continued growth there. Obviously, we have a culture of a big single game type of ticket base, and that's great too. I hope we have 5,000 folks that show up on Saturday that are ready to buy tickets, and we'll take them all. And so have we seen growth? We have, and the metrics bear out to that. But obviously my goals and Coach X goals are aligned. We want more. We want a bigger base to be able to renew from. And I do think that with the way Coach is going about it and the hopeful success that we'll see, that we'll be able to deliver on that in the future.
With all the games and the initiatives that you're doing, how many games are you going to use to measure the success of those initiatives? And by what game do you think you're going to adapt those initiatives? Yeah,
that's a great question. And I told my team, I said, don't get discouraged game one if it's not what you thought it should be, because we just got to keep chipping away. And I told them, don't be afraid of failure. We can't be. Like I said, we got to do things differently. And so for us, we're going to take a holistic view at it over the season. And I think that as we see our football program just continue to lay it on the line every weekend, we're going to get more and more buy-in from our fans. And really, it's word of mouth. That's why we got to do our jobs. When our fans show up, and if it's a smaller amount than maybe we thought, we got to make sure that all those folks leave there happy, so they go tell their friends, and their friends tell their friends, hey, we saw this really cool thing. You should come try it out. And so I think word of mouth is important. And so we're going to look at it over the season. And I told my team, just keep chipping away, stay positive, and just no idea is a bad idea. And so I appreciate the question because it's a wonderful one, but we're excited to see it grow over the year.
And then last question, the $1.8 million from Michigan.
Yeah.
I know numbers aren't your thing, but how do you plan to use that money?
Yeah, I actually love numbers. I do, but I try to get myself in trouble sometimes. So I make sure RB checks me on some of the things. And so actually that's built into our overall budget, our operating budget as a revenue. And that's real. You look at, the SEC's going to 9 games and the ACC's talking about it. The days of those bye games may be a thing of the past. I mean, schools just aren't paying what they used to pay. And, they're putting money into their rosters and doing other things that they weren't doing 5 and 6 years ago. And so we use it to cover our operational expenses and needs. Certainly, we direct a lot of that for our football program and the overall perspective there. But yeah, no, we budgeted for it, and we'll see. We'll have to continue to evaluate that as the landscape changes. So.
I know you already mentioned Albuquerque's a big walk-up crowd, but do you have an estimate for fans for this Saturday?
Yeah, I don't want to put a ceiling on it. I think that we should just continue to just champion and push and try to get as many folks here as possible. And I think we'll see. I've already seen this morning. I woke up, first thing yesterday, I asked what tickets were out. And then this morning again, I asked, and we're seeing growth. We're seeing steady growth. And so we're going to try to hit them with something every single day. I know Coach X going to talk about it every chance we get. We're going to get Coach on campus to do some things. And we haven't talked about this yet. Our students got to show up. And we moved our student section over here to where they once were at their request. And we're doing some things with them with their tailgate and other stuff. And so, if we can get 3,000 students, 2,500 students to show up, there we go. And now the ball starts going downhill. And so I'm excited to see them respond and our fans respond. But I don't want to put a ceiling on it because I think it could be really good.
You mentioned the SEC going to 9 games. Yeah. I believe you have Oklahoma on the schedule next year as well. I don't think there's any other SEC opponents you can I think so.
A&M.
A&M.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, A&M in Oklahoma.
Have you had, and I imagine Oklahoma's the more prominent one, but have they reached out to you about maybe getting out of that game, or have any conversations happened on that front?
No, they haven't as of right now. They have not. And but I think we've talked about this internally. We've got to be prepared, for what that might look like. And some of the conversations I've had with Coach Eck about our scheduling model in the future, luckily for us, we were aligned when I hired him. And also we've been planning for a model that I think is more sustainable for us long term. And especially now that these games don't exist like they once did, I'm glad we've been operating under that mindset. And so you're right, Oklahoma and A&M are SEC foes on our schedule, but we haven't heard from them yet.
Just for clarity's sake, I may have missed it earlier. Did you say all the initiatives will start this Saturday, or is this something that's going to be happening progressively throughout the season?
Yeah, all of the initiatives will start this Saturday. Just a reminder that because we have such limited inventory for an MSU game, the Kids Free initiative won't be applicable for that game, but all other initiatives that we've announced will start this Saturday.
Anybody else? All right, we're good.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you guys.